All right. Welcome back, ladies and gents, all my YouTube family. Welcome back to another exciting, head-scratching episode of Insane Disappearances. Sorry for the wait. Like I told you before, I got new hours at my job, so I have to actually go in a lot earlier than I did before. Before I had to go in at 6:30 to 3. Now I got to go in at 3 to 11:30 at night. And I go in early, even earlier, for some overtime, like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, stuff like that. So, I try to get in as many videos as I can because I'm actually working on a couple of new ones. And I got one right here in my own town, right here in good old A, which is a very strange, suspicious, disappearance. But the first thing I want to say is I reiterated this a while ago in one of my videos. And this is for everyone within the sound of my voice from this video. If you had a crazy, harrowing experience that you are still trying to figure out what happened, in a national park, you know where to find me, right here on Insane Disappearances. And I will gladly get your story out there so everyone can know what is going on in these national parks and national forests. Okay, don't be afraid to talk about it. If the National Park Service is hounding you about an interview, wanting to, know exactly what you saw, what you experienced, and all this stuff, and all this other nonsense they be trying to come at you with, just remember you have rights as an American. Okay, if they say that they need to confiscate your phone, if they don't have a warrant to take it, that means they can't have it. Okay, remember that. Always remember that you got rights just as much as anybody else does. So if they try to take it and they don't have a warrant, that means they can't have it. And you got every right to say no. Okay, even if they do got one, I still ain't giving it to them because it's my property. Okay, and if they say something like you were recording on private property, yet this is a public, national park for everyone to come through, it makes no sense whatsoever. But anyway, guys, this is a story that really hit home because it was right here in Georgia. It wasn't near me. It was actually in Newton County, Georgia. But this is a story about a man named Johnny. Hold on. Oh boy. Johnny Green. I'm sorry. His name was Johnny Green. And this actually happened this past Sunday. So this is a very fresh case. I wanted to try and get it up here as soon as I heard about it, but I wanted to get some more information on it. And from what I read today, pretty much the case is already not so much been solved, but he has actually been found, but not in the way that we would want him to be found. Now, to start off, this man, I think he's 48 years old. They're not listing his age. They did before, but I think, let me see. Yeah, I think he was 48 years old, but like I said, they're not listing his age right now. Now this man Johnny Green actually went fishing with a friend of his at Lake Jackson on Sunday, this past Sunday. His friend was telling, telling the authorities and the families that Green said that he was going to go back to his truck for some cigarettes, but he never returned. Now, his brother, his brother's name is James, and he was worried because how do you go fishing with a friend and then you just vanish? These are his thoughts. Now, the Newton County Sheriff's Office, called the disappearance very suspicious because think about it. He went fishing with a friend. Now, I am pretty darn sure, or pretty damn sure actually, that the first person they're going to blame is the friend, because maybe the friend had a vendetta out on him. Maybe he stole his girlfriend at one time before and he's been mad ever since. I don't know what it could be. It could be some sort of, tit for tat that they were going through over something. I don't know what it could be. That part is not being listed. But just the fact that he was actually out there, he wasn't even fishing at the time. He was going back to his truck to get some cigarettes. So somewhere between point A and point B, he disappeared. And I've never heard of a person actually vanishing here in Georgia. You know, there are some areas where I've heard them. And this is along the Appalachian Trail, which runs right into Georgia. So people who hike or jog in that area, they tend to disappear. You know, I think I did a story on one of those before about a disappearance in the Appalachian Trail that was right here. I think it runs along Cummings, Georgia. And I think there was a case about a woman that disappeared in that area, and she was never found. But anyway, now James, his brother, he has been out searching for clues, you know, in his brother's disappearance, but you know, at the time, nothing has been found. Now, as far as James has said, you know, also that he has tried to sit at home and not search, but he's more comfortable feeling, you know, he's more comfortable and feel like he's doing something positive by searching. So he would go and search as much as he could. Now, the family members say that Johnny Green, and a husband and father of 3 children, would not willingly walk away from his family. And that would be any father, I would imagine, any self-respected father, you know, by the family and friends. So him just up and just leaving like that or disappearing, that's very unlikely as far as what he would actually do. He would never do something like that, according to what the family has said. Now, the fear is what everybody fears, that something went down, you know, somewhere, and you just never know. But you know, that's what the fear is, and this is something that, you know, James, his brother, has said also. Now, you know, Johnny Green's friend said that he found his truck still parked, you know, along the lake. Now, the searchers later found his cell phone a few feet away from the woods. Now, okay, see, this is a direct, you know, like evidence as far as what happens with these cases in the missing 411 booths. This is a direct correlation of everything that happens. Cell phone is found hundreds of feet away from the actual woods or forest, or even near where the person was found dead. You know, so right there is telling you that something weird has happened. Now, several days of canvassing the area on land, by boat, and in the air, searchers have not found anything else. Now, the family members said they will keep searching until they have answers. And I can tell you right now that the body of this man has been found and actually was identified as Johnny Green. So their worst fears have, you know, come to pass. Now, the authorities are investigating after the body was found on Thursday, which was it was Thursday afternoon in Newton County. Now, this was this past Thursday, so that means they found him yesterday sometime in the afternoon. Now, according to the Newton County Sheriff's Office, a body was found in the water in the area of Waters Bridge Circle. Now, I don't really know what that place is because I live in another part of Georgia. So, you know, I know about Newton, Georgia, Newton County, that is, but I've never been there. So I think that's pretty far from where I actually live. Now, a family spokesperson told told Wolfen that the body is Johnny Green, who actually disappeared early this week, and the fact that they found his body, not so much him, but his body that quick, is just very strange, because everybody's, like I said, is going to be looking at the friend. They still haven't released the name of the friend, but I'm pretty sure that all eyes are on the friend, because for him to say that he went back to his truck to get some cigarettes, he wasn't even nowhere near the water. So I'm thinking, now this is just me thinking, and this is a logical thought. I normally don't do that, but you still have to look at all areas when it comes to people disappearing in these national parks or even national forests or even somewhere near a lake. And he was near a body of water, which is the crazy part. They didn't say how they found the body. They didn't say where they found the body. All I know is that they found the body, which was actually near the area of Waters Bridge Circle. Like I said, I would have to look that up to see exactly where that is. But he had been missing from Sunday to Thursday. So somewhere in between Sunday and Thursday, something happened to him, and he was found dead in that area near a body of water. Was he face down? Was he face up? I don't know. Was he half clothed? Partially clothed? I don't know that either. And I'm pretty sure that whatever they put out as far as evidence, pertaining to his death, it's not going to be what we would expect it to be. I'm pretty sure they're going to say he died from accidental drowning or he suffered from hypothermia. Because think about it. It's Georgia. So that means at this time of year, it's still warm. Not like how it is up north, or anywhere else up north where you're going to be, fishing on a lake. Some other areas is already like 20 below in certain parts of the country. But in Georgia, it's still warm. So it was probably at that time, I think it was 70 degrees that first of that week, because we had a full week of like really nice weather, sunny, warm, 80 degrees, but it's starting to drop down to like 50 something. So like I said, it was good weather when he went out there to the lake with his friend. So, you cannot say that he suffered from hypothermia, because they found him, they found him a week later, but still, they found him in an area where it was still warm. So whatever happened to him when he never came back to the truck, however long he was out there when he left to go, fetch the authorities, I don't know, but something happened to him and he wound up dead. And the question that bakes everybody's brain is how? Because he went out there to go fishing with a friend, and I'm pretty sure that friend was a good friend. Maybe people don't really know too much about him. I don't know. Maybe he don't know as much about him as he thought he did, for him to actually do that to him, if that's the case. And I'm not saying that it is. When I bring stories to my channel, I always bring the weird stories. Most of them weird stories are from David Paulides' books, or they're from any other case that I may find that has a very weird story attached to it. And this is a very weird story because he goes fishing. He goes back to his truck to get some cigarettes, and somewhere between point A and point B, he's gone. So he obviously didn't even make it to the truck. Okay? So something happened to him. Maybe a portal opened up where he was and he didn't see it, and he either got sucked into it or he walked right into it. I don't know. Maybe he was abducted by aliens and they took some organs from his body and dropped them off back where he was found. I don't know. But he was obviously gone for 4 or 5 days at the most. Now however long it was until he died, I don't know. Maybe he died that day. Maybe he died somewhere between Sunday and Thursday, and that's when they just found him on Thursday. I don't know. Like I said, they're going to have to get the toxicology report and the autopsy report just to find out exactly what happened. Okay, so I'm really hoping that, well, I'm not hoping, but if this is one of those weird cases that David Paulides talks about, then we definitely got a big one here, because like I said, I have never heard of a case other than okay, I keep forgetting this guy's name. I don't want to say it if I can't remember it, so I'm just going to leave it alone. But the other story that I talked about that young man who was a DOT worker right here in Georgia, but in Savannah, Georgia, if I recall, same thing with him. That was a very strange disappearance for him to just up and just vanish without a trace, and all they found was change on the ground and a shoe dangling from a barbed wire fence. And then the other shoe was found 900 yards away in a swampy area, by on the property of the person that they was doing that DOT work in. So all I know is that this is definitely a weird case, and that's why I posted it. Okay, so I know it's been a while since the last one that I did, but I wanted to make sure I got this out there, so everybody will know that I'm still doing what I got to do to make sure these crazy sounding cases of people disappearing gets out there. That's what I'm here for. So this is a case right here at home. So that's what makes it even more crazy, because like I said, the only one I've ever heard of that was very weird was the one of that young man who was a DOT worker. So, yeah, that is just crazy, because you never expect these things to happen in your own town, and then all of a sudden, poof, it actually does happen in your own town. So that right there is really something that I never would have thought would happen. And it's been a while since the last one, a very long while. This happened when that young man disappeared. This was back in like 2002. I didn't know anything about David Paulides at that time, let alone these people that seem to vanish without a trace in national parks and stuff. Never heard not one word about it. So, to hear about it now after all those years, and I was like, dang, okay, I was living here in Georgia in 2002, and I'm just not hearing about this. I mean, you would think you would hear it over the news, but when something like that happens and it's a very weird disappearance, they're not going to talk about it. They're really not. So the best thing to do is to try and the only thing that could actually really happen is if you stumble onto it. So, in cases like that, I'm glad that I was able to stumble onto it, because I think that's what makes these stories so credible. Like, you never hear about it until you just happen to stumble onto it. And you're like, oh snap, and then you start talking about it, and everybody hears about it. But the ones that have the cases lined up in a book, or like how David Paulides does, and he puts it out there. When he did it, nobody really knew that it was that serious until he started talking about it and started, releasing all this information about what happened to him, or what happened to these people. And that's when you hear about the weirdness in the cases. The weirdness in these cases are the cornerstone of people who disappear, because you don't know the full story. So when that moment arrives for you to take in all that stuff, then you actually start to realize that, yeah, there is something weird going on. But I'm gonna tell you right now, the ones that hear these cases and then all of a sudden don't want to believe in it, people, you got to realize that just because something that you have never experienced, it doesn't mean that it's not true. I've said this time and time again about a lot of cases dealing with this. You got to realize that, it is something weird going on out there, and we got to get rid of all of that doubt, all of the fear of the unknown, everything, like skepticism, all that stuff, because that's the reason why so many people cannot accept what is really going on here, because we're talking about people who are disappearing mysteriously, and yet a lot of people tend to have a lot of theories, logical theories, of what may have happened to these people. You can't do that, because it's like I've said in the past, if you have a weird story that has weird evidence attached to it, you need a weird answer to answer all those questions. You can't just be like, okay, he died of hypothermia, but yet you still have these lingering evidence surrounding the cases dealing with these people that disappear. And for some reason, for some reason that I just can't understand, they put it out there and people just go with it, and I think that's just not fair. I think that the parents should know about what really happens to their children or their family members, their husbands, their wives. You know, yeah, okay, it's going to be a story or information that you're not going to be ready for, but I just don't think that that should be kept from people. I really don't, because if you're keeping that stuff from everybody, I mean the actual truth, but when you put it out there, all of a sudden you want to list all this stuff that ain't got nothing to do with the case. I think that is just very wrong. People need to know what is happening to their family members, no matter how weird the information is. You know, and I have said this millions of times. You know, but like I said, that's just me. You know, that's just me. You know, that's how I feel. I feel that people should know about these things, but that's not my call. And I'm not one to basically put information out there and add a case to it that people don't want, you know, to talk about, because I've had people actually tell me to remove videos of their family member because it's just too much for them to bear as far as hearing people talking about it. You know, and I respectfully do that. I'm not gonna sit up there and just leave it up there. You know, if it's too much for them, I'm gonna respect that, and I'm going to make sure I remove it, which I have done. So just like with the Madison Scott case, I said I wasn't going to leave that. I wasn't going to put her in that category of the missing 411 cases, because I personally think that I personally think that something unexplainable did happen to her, but I'm not going to even try to put those into words of what I think happened, because her family is still looking for her to this day. It's been 8 years. 8 years since she disappeared. So, you know, I just think that, you know, people should know. I really do. But the powers that be don't want people to know that for some reason. For the same reason why a lot of the information about the history of this planet is being kept secret. You know, I don't understand that. You know, there's a lot of things about this planet that we don't know about, and I have said this in the past. You know, and it's coupled with all these disappearances. What makes these people disappear? Portals. Energy is invisible to the naked eye, so if something is going on and you can't see it, you're gonna walk right into it. Now, there may be some distortion in the area because of how certain energies can bend the fabric of time itself to where it looks ripply in certain areas, or like you see a haze, or it look like some sort of mirrored bubble that's in front of you, or like just basically the air is going to be really distorted. You know, if you don't notice these things or recognize these things, you're gonna walk right into it. Because I've told you in the past about this story that David Paulides talked about on one of his interviews, where this man was walking in the woods, just chilling, walking, just enjoying nature. He comes up to this area, and it looked, I guess it was like this wall of distortion in front of him. He takes one step forward, and his foot literally disappeared into this thing that he was in front of. And when he realized what happened, he backed away slowly and took off running and never came back, to that area. So, like I said, there's a lot going on that we don't know about, but we need to know about it, but they don't want us to know. So we have to do our own homework when it comes to these cases, so, and that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing. I'm doing my homework and putting this information out there, just like the woman who had that experience in Brown Mountain National Park. When I found out that she went there and she was still trying to figure out what happened, I knew something happened to her, because you can't go into an area like that and not have an experience. for the ones that don't believe it, I understand that is your preference. That is your, that's you. I'm not gonna knock anybody for that. But you have to also understand that sometimes you don't need evidence. Sometimes you don't need evidence, but you don't need all these things that people were talking about, saying that she needs to be, the video needs to be analyzed, this and that, the other. Okay, she had her cell phone out and she was recording a lot of weird stuff. I'm talking about lights flying over the dog that looked more like plasma, because it was like a thick, shimmering light that looked like it just had a mind of its own, and then there's that little, that weird looking thing that was off to the right, in a grassy area, and it shot to the right as she was walking by. And to this day, I still don't know what the heck that was. Looked like it was on all fours, but it ran off like it was some kind of a person kneeling down on his hands, kind of like Tarzan or whatever. I don't know, but it was it was a lot of pixelation in the videos, and that's only because we're dealing with a camera out in the wilderness, so there's gonna be some I won't say distortion, but some pixelization with certain phones. It's just the way things are, but I can guarantee you that I believe her 100% that she had an experience, because I have witnessed the unknown many a time in my life. So you can't tell me that a lot of stuff that is happening to people isn't actually happening. You can't tell me that, because I know for a fact that these things are real. I know for a fact that a lot of weird things are happening on this planet that we can't explain. Okay? How do you explain a person walking into his own living room and feeling like he's actually in two places all at one time? Like, I'm actually in my living room, but I'm somewhere else at the same time. I can see both realities right in front of my face. It's like two different dimensions were merging. Our plane and whatever plane that I was walking into, because it looked like I was walking into like a cloud bank. And it's like I could see in front of me, but I could still see these clouds all over this. I'm going on like this here. I'm telling you, it was like I was literally in two places all at one time. So for her to say that she heard a loud boom and then her friends just vanished, I believe it. I really do. So, but anyway, guys, I just want to get that information out there about that man who disappeared right here in the good old A, so that you can see that it's happening all over the world, and the fact that he was found a week later, still under mysterious circumstances. So whatever it is they found, either on or near the body, that's the big question. Was he half naked? I don't know. Did he have just his socks and his underwear on? Maybe, but I guarantee they're not going to tell you that. Just like with the Henry McCabe case, all they said was they found his lifeless body, face down or face up, because on the David Platt says it depends on the buoyancy of the body. So I think with him it was face up, but they just said they found his body. That's it. They didn't mention how they found his body. Was he wearing his clothes? They didn't mention none of that either. They just said they found his lifeless body, and that's it. So for him to be found, but they don't say what they found, there has got to be a reason why they're not going to do that. And I can tell you right now, they're not going to tell you exactly what they found. They're just going to say, oh, he died from accidental drowning. But he was near a body of water, I believe. They said they found him in the water, dead, floating. So, yeah. And that happens with a lot of college kids. This is a 48-year-old man. So the game is changing, because all the cases that David Paulides talked about were young college men that were found in a river or a lake in some other state. Yet here we are finding a 48-year-old man who was supposed to have been fishing dead in the water. So, yeah. But anyway, guys, I gotta go. I got another one coming up, which I will try and get to you tomorrow, because it's late. I gotta get some sleep because I gotta be at work by 1 o'clock today. So it's already 3:48. So you know what that means. Aloha, mahalo, and a huiho. Peace out, guys. Have a great day.